You've tried budgeting every penny, saving that extra 10% from your paycheck, and hustling side gigs just to feel like you're getting ahead. But here you are, still trapped in the same financial cycle, watching the wealthy pull further away. I know because I lived it for 7 years, adding habits, cutting costs. Yet my bank account barely budged. The hard truth: the middle class plays a game of linear addition, trading endless effort for small gains. The 1%, they multiply through a hidden formula: targeted leverage on systemized assets that compound without your daily grind. Today, I'll break it down so you can shift from laborer to operator. But first, let's expose why your current approach locks you in place. Linear wealth is the trap most of us fall into. It's that straightforward exchange of your time for money through a job, freelance gigs, or even those smart savings plans. You work harder, you save more, you hustle on weekends, and maybe you see a tiny uptick in your net worth. But it's all addition. 1 hour worked equals 1 hour paid. $1 saved equals $1 closer to freedom. The problem? It scales with your effort, and effort has limits. Your body tires, your motivation wanes, and life gets in the way. Before long, you're performing labor instead of building systems, stuck in what psychologists call identity homeostasis. Your brain wired to repeat the same performer role, resisting any real shift. I remember it vividly. For 7 straight years, I was the king of linear hustle. Mornings started with budgeting apps, tracking every coffee and commute. Evenings, side projects that ate my sleep, all in hopes of that breakthrough. I added productivity books, vision boards, even a financial planner. Results: incremental at best. A few thousand saved, but no escape from the 9-to-5 grind. It felt like running on a treadmill. Sweat equity without forward motion. The lie here is that discipline alone builds wealth. It doesn't. It just reinforces your identity as a worker bee, not a wealth operator. Your neural pathways deepen those labor loops, making any deviation feel like failure. Now, contrast that with how the 1% operates. They don't add, they subtract low-value effort to create space for multiplication. Real transformation comes through strategic disappearance, stepping back from the daily grind to engineer a vacuum where your old identity dissolves. Without that, you're just piling on more tasks, diluting your focus. The wealthy understand financial physics. Linear effort caps at your lifespan, but exponential leverage scales infinitely. They don't save scraps. They deploy resources to amplify returns. Think about it. Your savings account compounds at 4%, but their systems, they reinvest 100% of output back in, creating neural shifts that rewire you as a multiplier, not a grinder. This is where most people mess up. They chase more income streams, spreading thin across hustles that all demand their time. But that fragments energy, preventing the identity reset needed for true wealth. The hard truth: without exposing this lie, you'll never break free. Linear wealth guarantees mediocrity because it ties your worth to hours logged, not value created. Once you see it, though, everything changes. You start questioning every productive habit. Is this adding or multiplying? The 1% skip the trap entirely. They built leverage points from day one. The foundation of the 1%'s formula starts with targeted leverage. It's the shift from doing everything yourself to using other people's time, money, or systems to scale one high-impact area infinitely. Why does this matter? Because without it, you're spreading your effort thin across a dozen tasks, each demanding your constant input, which guarantees burnout and zero real growth. Targeted leverage focuses your energy on the single mechanism that compounds, turning finite hours into endless output. It separates beginners from operators by creating outsized results from minimal ongoing involvement. The stakes: ignore this, and you'll stay a jack of all trades, mastering none, while the wealthy amplify one strength to dominate markets. What exactly is targeted leverage? It's not vague networking or generic outsourcing. It's pinpointing the one tool, audience, or network that scales without your direct control. Take code as an example. Instead of manually handling customer inquiries, a simple algorithm processes thousands automatically, turning your initial skill into an infinite scaler. Or build an audience through content. Once loyal, it promotes your offers passively. Unlike linear tasks like cold calling prospects one by one, networks work the same. Connect with influencers or partners who open doors you couldn't alone, multiplying opportunities exponentially. The key: these aren't side distractions, they're the high leverage point where your input creates a flywheel effect, pulling in resources far beyond your solo capacity. Now, how do you implement this? Start by auditing your skills honestly. List what you're naturally good at, then match it to market needs. If you're a writer, don't freelance endlessly. Target leverage by creating a template system that others buy and customize. If tech-savvy, code a tool once and license it repeatedly. The process: identify your core strength, find the infinite scaler, like software or a community, and deploy it strategically. Begin small. Dedicate 1 week to prototyping, then test with a minimal viable offer. This builds momentum without overwhelming your schedule. The common mistake here: people confuse leverage with debt, borrowing money to chase trends, which just adds pressure without freedom. True leverage is strategic disappearance from low-value work. Delegate or automate the 80% that drains you, freeing bandwidth for the 20% that scales. I made this error early on, juggling multiple gigs, thinking volume equaled progress. It fragmented me until I focused on one leverage point: a digital guide that others marketed for me. Suddenly, income decoupled from my hours. Here's your quick win. Today, pick one skill you have and brainstorm its leverage potential. Ask, what could turn this into a system others run? Jot 3 ideas, like turning expertise into an app or email sequence. Act on one this week. It'll spark the identity shift from doer to director. Leverage alone isn't enough, though. It must flow into a systemized asset that runs autonomously, turning one-time effort into perpetual returns. A systemized asset is the second pillar. It's a self-sustaining mechanism, like a digital product, automated team, or investment vehicle that generates income without your daily input. Why does this drive exponential returns? Because you reinvest 100% of profits back in it, fueling growth loops that shift your neural pathways from laborer to operator identity. Traditional saving traps you in scarcity mode, compounding slowly on scraps. Here, the asset becomes your new brain, autonomous, adaptive, pulling in wealth as you step back. The benefit: it rewires you to think in multipliers, where effort subtracts over time, not adds. What makes this the formula's powerhouse? Leverage feeds the asset. Your targeted tool populates it with users or capital, while the asset guarantees compounding over time. A digital course, for instance, starts with your leverage-built audience, then automates delivery and updates via software, earning passively as enrollments snowball. An automated team: delegate operations to vetted freelancers through clear protocols, scaling output without micromanaging. Investment vehicles like index funds or peer lending platforms work similarly, but supercharged by your leverage-sourced capital. The combination creates exponentiation. Initial setup yields 10x, reinvestment 100x, as the system self-optimizes. How do you build one? Start small with automation tools. No need for complex tech. Use platforms like Zapier to connect your leverage point to revenue streams. Or Teachable for a product that sells itself. Scale by subtracting your involvement. First, handle 100% yourself to map processes. Then outsource 50%, aiming for 10% hands-on. Track metrics weekly. Revenue per hour invested drops as autonomy rises. I built mine around a content system. Leverage from my network filled it with collaborators. Automation handled distribution, and now it generates while I focus elsewhere. The real impact hits in the before-after. As a laborer, you're trading 40 hours weekly for a fixed salary, netting linear gains. As a multiplier, that systemized asset works 168 hours a week, unattended, compounding your leverage into freedom. Last month, a contact went from $5 monthly grind to $20 passive by systemizing his consulting into templates. His involvement 2 hours overseeing. Avoid the pitfalls, though. Don't chase shiny objects like every new app or trend. That scatters focus and blocks the identity reset. Stick to one system, nurturing it through tweaks until it hums independently. This commitment forges the operator mindset, where wealth feels inevitable. Mastering this duo, leverage into assets, shifts your financial physics forever. From fragile effort to unbreakable momentum, the 1%'s formula replaces linear hustle with targeted leverage on systemized assets, guaranteeing compounding that builds wealth autonomously. Apply one pillar this week. Audit a skill for leverage or prototype a simple asset, and comment your idea below. Subscribe for the full identity reset series to escape the trap for good.